Hi, second graders. It's time for our read aloud again. Today's read aloud is called Trouble in the Lily Garden. And as I'm reading today, I want you to pay attention to, again, how I read. And I also want us to stop and think about how all the words in a sentence are linked together and they make sense. And the reason that we want our sentences to be clear and to make sense is because it helps our readers understand what we're reading. So again, today's story, Trouble in the Lily Garden. Mr. Ramos stopped digging, put away his shovels, and threw the dead flowers that he had dug up in the compost pile. His lilies were blooming, and he stopped to look at the pretty flowers popping out through the stems and leaves. He took a deep breath. The fresh scent of the lilies was everywhere. Mr. Ramos nodded his head with happiness and went inside. Later, when the Ramos family was asleep, Leah, the lily, hissed quietly, "Who's awake?" Leah heard, "I am," coming loudly from some parts of the garden, but only very quietly from the north part. Who is Leah in this story? Yes, Leah is a lily who lives in Mr. Ramos's garden. Just then, Leah saw Sam the slug and one of his friends creep by. Leah stretched her neck to get a closer look. It looked like Sam had a piece of a wrinkled petal dragging behind him, but Leah couldn't be sure. Leah called her friend, Mo the mosquito, who buzzed over and perched on her petal. "Mo, what's up with Sam?" she asked. "Sam? Who knows? He's just a plain old creepy slug. Why?" "I don't know. I've seen him and his friends around a lot lately, and that's never good. I've heard that he eats holes in the plants." Buzzed Mo as he lazily stretched his wing muscles. "I wouldn't worry." "Mo," Leah said crossly, "you never worry, but I think something is wrong." The next day, Mr. Ramos went to work on the other side of the garden, where he pulled up vegetables that had gotten too tough. When he had gone for the day, Leah called to all the lilies again. This time, the north garden was completely quiet. Leah heard nothing at all from the beautiful lilies that grew there. "Psst, Mo, get over here," she whispered. Mo buzzed over, flying closely above Leah's petals. "What is it, Leah? I'm trying to sleep," he said crankily. "I just called the lilies, but they didn't answer the call. The north garden is completely quiet." "Maybe they are," Mo trailed off. He had just seen Sam the slug and 5 of his pals slowly, silently sliding out of the north garden. So in this story, what problem does Leah have? So Leah's problem in this story is that she's worried about what the slugs are doing to the plants in the garden. So now, what do you think is happening in the north garden? Based on what we know from the information in the story, what could be happening in the north garden there? Based on what I know and what Leah's shared in the story here is I think the slugs are eating the flowers in the north garden. My last question for you, what do you hear in the reading that makes you think the slugs are causing trouble? So again, if I think about what I read and I think about the events of the story, I know that Sam dragged a piece of wrinkled petal And then Mo the mosquito also saw slugs in the north garden. So that helps me. That's evidence from the story that supports my idea that the slugs are eating the flowers. All right, girls and boys, have a great day, and we will see you later.